Well, we are in Toronto, Canada, at my house, which is a nice thing to say because it's been a few years in the making. I just moved in about like 2 weeks ago, maybe. Okay. So still getting settled, getting adjusted, but yeah, it's great. I actually just had a conversation with the guys the other day because we were kind of in a stride for music, and I took like the last 2 weeks to myself pretty much, and I was, me, I feel guilty when I don't work, so I just sent this apology letter out to everybody, but I say that to say the reason why is, just, I feel like I haven't felt like my life belonged to me this much, and probably in the whole span of my career. I mean, you just get so caught up in work that that you forget that you have like a personal life, and
so this place is kind of building a balance.
Yeah. I mean, it really is sort of I mean, I live here pretty much by myself, so yeah, it's just bringing me a lot of balance, a lot of peace, a lot of time to reflect. Like Oliver told me the other day, yo, I hope you're just lighting one spliff and just walking around the house and just realizing yo, you really.
So you celebrating the whole birthday? Just
yeah, that's what I do. I wake up in the morning, I start drinking espressos. I wake up in the morning, I start drinking espressos. I wake up, have a nice balanced meal, put on some great music. I don't know if you guys went to the toilet yet, but the toilet plays Pac.
I did wow. Pee and I heard Pac. I got scared.
Yeah, I know, man. Yeah, it's just just curating the space, but it's been great, man. It's it's setting me on a new path, and especially at the turn of the decade, it's almost perfect timing.
You live here, but you've been living on the charts for the last 10 years, man.
That's what we want to say. I mean, the main thing is to everybody, man. You're the artist of the 10s.
Yes.
This is your decade. It's a decade of dominance.
Facts.
I just feel like that needs to be said. I feel a lot of times it's not. I mean, there was some statistic came out about 400 weeks or something. You was in the top 10 or whatever it was, and then if you didn't count Sicko Mode where you weren't credited, it's really 500. That's insane.
Which, by the way, I don't know why I wasn't credited.
That wasn't your choice?
I don't know who finessed that play. Nah.
But obviously you know what you're doing, but then to just see that really written down and see those type of stats, that's got to even impress yourself, right? To see that what you've been able to accomplish in these last 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, usually when it's when people start to put it in your face, when it's one of these moments like the turn of a decade or something, is when you really start to sort of see it more and realize it. I never let myself get too invested in the lows or the highs. That's kind of how I stay focused. But yeah, no, it's incredible. One of my friends sent me a video the other day, and it was just all the top numbers from the last 10 years, and the people. I don't know if you saw that video where all the artists start moving and taking over different spots, and that was pretty crazy because it was for the whole last 2 minutes of that video, I was just sitting up there, wow. With the exception of getting, flipped out with PS Psy. Remember that Psy? Gangnam Style. Yeah. So it's it's great, man. It's it's everything I always wanted. It's what I work tirelessly for, and relentlessly, just constantly trying to create, stay refreshing, stay consistent, learning the right amount of time to take off, but, but now it's over, so it's just time to go again.
But 10 years ago, did you ever anticipate having a run like this?
I think I had things in my mind that I wanted to accomplish. I think I had the utmost faith in myself and a lot of confidence in myself. I don't necessarily know if I ever saw it going this far, but also, as you receive things in life, money, blessings, whatever, your appetite begins to grow, right? So it's if I give you $1 million tomorrow, you're gonna learn what it's like to have $1 million, and then you're gonna start being around people that have $10 million or $100 million. Yeah. You're gonna learn that there's other things that you can't get with $1 million. Right. So your appetite grows, and I think the initial visions that I had for myself just kind of manifested into
what were
all
those
of
goals then at that time?
I think when I first started out, I just wanted to be just as important as Lil Wayne, because I felt like nobody was ever going to be as big as Lil Wayne, like during like Lollipop times and obviously like Carter 3 times. And, you know, I just never seen rap be that, it just was it was like this bright flash bulb. Like I just never seen it look so massive and so big. And remember, like I'm on tour with the guy, so I'm at his shows and, you know, I'm watching everything, like, you know, and by the way, I don't think that anybody like ever in music from now and before and the future, I don't know if there'll ever be anybody that will work harder than that guy. So that was a big thing that I paid attention to as well. Was just like, he has the most insane work ethic. And I see like a lot of glimpses of that in like guys like Future, Thug, guys that really stay in there and they're like, again, relentless. Like, but like, man, there was nothing like Wayne. Like I used to watch Wayne cut like 4 or 5 classics in a night, like joints that like would just go on to be like, it would be mind blowing. You know, he'd get 4 verses off and then like 2 months later or 3 months later, those songs would come out. I'd be like, I can't believe this is like, you know, Make It Rain or like, you know, like whatever.
Shout out Fat Joe.
Yeah, so, but anyway, yeah, I think initially my goal was just to be a protege that didn't flop. You know, I just wanted to be somebody that was like remotely as important as my mentor. And yeah, from there, you know, I think a lot of things changed when Wayne went to jail, because it was really a moment of realization, like, all right, this guy pretty much put all his trust and all his like power behind us, and now like it's on our shoulders to like make sure that when he comes home, you know, it's kind of like the same thing, like if your man goes in and does a bid and you guys are doing a thing together, you want to make sure that when he comes out, you come pick him up in a nice car and say, yo, here, you know, so it was that type of responsibility where it's like, yo, when my guy comes home, I just want to make sure that this thing is bigger than where it was when we left off.
So how do you think you held it down in that period?
Just from all the teachings, all the things that I learned, you know, I think I just clicked into a different zone naturally, you know, because like I said, I was out here by myself. I mean, obviously it was me and Nikki, but you know, I always felt like, okay, I'm Wayne's little brother, and he's dependent on me to carry this name, you know. And at that time, Young Money was a lot more connected, so I felt that obligation to everybody, to Mac, to Nikki, to Tez, to, you know, to really take things to whatever level I could take them to. And I think I just did it by, like, again, observing him. I knew, you know, I knew what it was to try new things on records. I wasn't afraid. I loved to work. And Wayne always embraced me working in my own space. He never told me, yo, you have to work like me. You have to stay up these hours. You have to do these drugs. You have to. He never was like that. He never pressured me to do nothing. He always wanted me to work the way I felt. You know, the way and my assistant right now, who I've been with for years, I'll never forget, like, the first time I was like, well, look, the way I work is I need 40 here, you know, because that's my engineer, and I like, you know, he knows what to do with my vocals. And I remember CJ, you know, who, again, is like, you know, we formed a 10-year bond, if not more now, but I remember CJ being like, yo, what, we're gonna book this guy's boy a flight to come to, like, just tell him to get in the booth with who we got here, you know? Why are we booking this boy a flight? And Wayne,
you could probably get any producer at that time, too, right?
Well, I mean, it was just, we were at Hot Beats and they had engineers. So he's like, what? Like, this guy's gonna fly another guy from Canada? And, you know, obviously CJ doing his job, trying to watch over the money, you know, was like, why are we flying in Drake's boy? Or not, I wasn't even Drake. It was probably just like, yo, why are we flying in this light-skinned kid's boy to come and help him with his music? But Wayne, you know, Wayne stood up for me and he's like, yo, get him whatever he needs. And I think with those tools was how I was able to maintain for that stretch of whatever it was. I think it was a little under a year. But, you know, just to have it primed for him to touch road again and know that it didn't take some deep plummet to the bottom, you know, it was bigger than ever, I think, by the time he came out.
Even musically, it sounded like you changed.